If you examine what is unfolding between Washington and Ottawa at this moment, it doesn't resemble diplomacy. It doesn't even resemble a trade disagreement. It resembles a separation. For 7 decades, the boundary between the United States and Canada was the longest unguarded line in the world. It was uneventful. It was peaceful. It was secure. But as of this morning, secure is finished. Donald Trump attempted to trap Canada. He believed he was dealing with the old Canada, the courteous neighbor that always says sorry, the ally that always caves when the White House elevates its voice. He was mistaken. Mark Carney didn't waver. He didn't offer regrets. He didn't rush to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring. Instead, he executed something that no Canadian leader has executed in our lifetime. He told the President of the United States to go to hell. And the ramifications of that single decision are already flowing through the markets, through the supply chains, and likely right into your 401k. Trump is enraged. The White House is panicking, and the media is overlooking the real story. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal exactly what transformed, who panicked first, and why the special relationship you grew up with is officially finished. So, let's cut through the chaos. Here is precisely what went down in the last 48 hours. It began, as it always does, with a threat. President Trump, irritated by the stalling talks on the USMCA review, decided he was finished waiting. He went on Truth Social at 6 a.m. and issued an ultimatum. He demanded that Canada immediately eliminate its digital services tax and grant American farmers total unrestricted access to the Canadian dairy market. If Ottawa didn't comply within 24 hours, a blanket 25% tariff on every single Canadian car, truck, and auto part crossing the border. Now, typically, this is the part where Canadian officials scramble. They send a delegation. They issue a courteous statement about continued cooperation. They try to smooth it over. That didn't occur. Instead, Prime Minister Mark Carney walked up to a podium in Ottawa. He didn't appear rattled. He didn't appear furious. He appeared like a man who had been waiting for this precise moment. He looked into the camera and said simply, no. He didn't present a counterproposal. He didn't request more time. He rejected the ultimatum outright. And then he went a step further. He announced that if the US proceeds with auto tariffs, Canada will immediately trigger targeted retaliatory measures on US energy exports and intellectual property rights. The internet exploded instantly. Trump fired back with a storm of posts calling Carney weak and a globalist puppet. But while Trump was typing, something unusual happened in the markets. The Canadian dollar stabilized. The US auto sector took a nosedive. For the first time in modern history, a US president pulled the trigger on a threat, and the smaller country didn't flinch. They pulled a gun of their own. You need to grasp how shocking this is. This isn't just a trade spat. This is a total rewriting of the rules. Trump is accustomed to leverage. He's accustomed to being the biggest guy in the room. But yesterday he discovered that leverage only works if the other guy is afraid of you. And Mark Carney, he isn't afraid. I know that sounds like hype. I know it sounds like I'm dramatizing. But I want to show you the receipts, because when you see the numbers, you realize this isn't politics. It's math. And the math is turning against the White House. Let's examine receipt number 1. The auto industry panic. Within 30 minutes of Trump's tweet, Ford and GM stock took a hit. Why? Because the American auto industry doesn't just purchase from Canada, they build with Canada. A single piston or transmission gear might cross the border 6 or 7 times before it ends up in a finished car. You put a 25% tariff on that border, and you aren't taxing Canada. You are taxing Michigan. You are taxing Ohio. We have reports from inside the Detroit manufacturing hubs that shift managers were literally shouting into phones trying to figure out if they could get parts across the bridge before the deadline. They know what Trump doesn't seem to comprehend. You can't build a Ford F-150 without Ontario. You just can't. Receipt number 2. The energy leverage. This is the one nobody in the US media discusses. They think Canada just sells maple syrup. Canada is the largest foreign supplier of energy to the United States. Not Saudi Arabia, not Mexico, Canada. 60% of US crude oil imports arrive from the north. The entire Midwest relies on Canadian pipelines to keep the lights on and the factories running. When Carney mentioned targeted measures, he wasn't discussing milk. He was discussing oil. He was discussing the heavy crude that US refineries in the Gulf Coast are designed to process. If Canada throttles that supply even by 10%, gas prices in the US don't just go up, they skyrocket. Just the threat of this caused energy futures to spike yesterday afternoon. That is the market telling you that Carney has a weapon Trump can't block. Receipt number 3. The Davos connection. Now, Trump loves to attack Carney as a globalist. And sure, Carney is a creature of the global financial system. He ran the Bank of England. He ran the Bank of Canada. He knows the guys in the suits in Zurich and London. But here is why that matters right now. While Trump was tweeting, sources say Carney was on the phone, not with Washington, but with Brussels, with London, with Tokyo. He is coordinating. We are seeing reports of a joint statement being drafted between Canada and the European Union regarding protection of international supply chains. Do you see what's happening? Trump is playing checkers, trying to bully one opponent at a time. Carney is playing 3D chess. He's rallying the rest of the world to isolate the US position. He's using his reputation to calm the markets, while painting Trump as the source of volatility. And it's working. The Dow Jones fell 400 points yesterday. The TSX in Toronto, it held flat. That is the receipt that matters most. The money is betting on Carney's stability, not Trump's chaos. So why is this happening? Why is the most powerful man on earth struggling to bully a country with the population of California? It's because Trump is losing control of the narrative, and he's trapped by his own tactics. We have witnessed this playbook before. In 2016, it was fresh. In 2024, it was aggressive. But now it's predictable. Trump's entire strategy relies on shock and awe. He hits you hard, he hits you fast, and he expects you to crumble so he can claim a victory. He needs a quick win to feed his base. But what happens when the shock doesn't work? He has no plan B. When Carney said no, he stripped Trump of his momentum. And now Trump is forced to actually execute the threat. He has to impose the tariffs. And here is the trap. If he imposes the tariffs, prices in the US go up immediately. Cars get more expensive. Gas gets more expensive. Parts shortages start hitting factories in swing states. The very workers he promised to protect, the factory workers in Michigan and Pennsylvania, are the first ones who will get laid off when the supply chain freezes. He knows this. His advisors know this. We are hearing leaks from the West Wing that the economic advisors are screaming at the political advisors. They are saying, you cannot do this. You will crash the economy 6 months before the midterms. But Trump can't back down. His ego won't let him. He drew a red line. If he walks away now, he looks weak. He looks like he surrendered to Justin Trudeau's successor. So he creates more noise. He attacks Carney's character. He threatens to leave NATO. He threatens to build a wall on the northern border. It's noise. It's the sound of a leader who pulled a lever and realized it wasn't connected to anything. He is escalating because he doesn't know what else to do. You're watching a man who treats geopolitics like a real estate deal. In real estate, you can walk away from the table. In geopolitics, you can't walk away from your neighbor. Canada isn't going anywhere. The border isn't going anywhere. Trump is fighting gravity. And the harder he fights, the more isolated he looks. Look at the response from the US Chamber of Commerce. They didn't issue a statement supporting the president. They issued a warning about catastrophic economic harm. Look at the response from the Republican governors in border states. They are quiet. They are terrified. They know their economies are integrated with Canada. Trump is alone on this island. He built it himself, and the water is rising. Now let's discuss Mark Carney, because if you don't follow Canadian politics closely, you might think he's just another suit. You might think he's just another liberal politician. You would be mistaken. Mark Carney is not a politician in the traditional sense. He is a technocrat. He is a banker. He is a crisis manager. He ran the Bank of England during Brexit. He knows how to manage economic disasters. He knows how to stare at a spreadsheet that says doom and find a way out. When Trump screams, Carney calculates. Notice his body language in that press conference. He didn't wave his arms. He didn't raise his voice. He wore a dark suit. He spoke in complete paragraphs. And he used data. He is positioning himself as the adult in the room. And globally, that is a very powerful brand right now. The world is tired of chaos. Europe is tired. Asia is tired. The markets are exhausted. They are desperate for predictability. Carney is selling predictability. He is telling the world, Canada is the safe harbor. We follow the rules. We honor our contracts. We are the grown-ups. By doing this, he turns Trump's aggression into Canada's marketing campaign. Every time Trump tweets a threat, Carney looks more stable by comparison. Every time Trump disrupts a supply chain, Carney looks like the defender of free trade. This is a strategy of asymmetric warfare. Canada cannot beat the US in a brute force fight. The US economy is 10 times bigger. The US military is infinitely larger. But Carney knows he doesn't have to win a war. He just has to make the conflict too expensive for Trump to continue. He is using what we call pinpoint leverage. He isn't targeting the whole US economy. He is targeting the pain points. He's targeting the specific industries and specific states that Trump needs to win elections. He's not throwing rocks. He's using a scalpel. And here is the other thing Carney understands: time. Trump is on a political clock. He has elections. He has news cycles. He needs a win today. Carney is playing the long game. He knows that if he holds the line, the pressure inside the US will build until Trump is forced to blink. It's a game of chicken. One driver is screaming and pounding the steering wheel. The other driver has set the cruise control and is reading a map. Who do you think is going to swerve first? So why should you care? Maybe you're watching this in Ohio or Florida or Texas. Maybe you're watching this in the UK. You might think, this is just politicians fighting. It doesn't affect me. You're mistaken. This affects the price of everything you buy. The North American economy is a machine. It was built over 30 years to function as one single unit. We don't make things in America or Canada anymore. We make things in North America. If Carney and Trump break that machine, the gears grind to a halt. If you are looking to buy a car this year, add $3,000 to the price tag today. If you are buying groceries, watch the price of fertilizer and transport go up, which means your bread and milk go up. If you are looking for a job in manufacturing, get ready for hiring freezes. But beyond the money, there is a bigger implication here. We are watching the end of the American era of automatic obedience. For decades, when the US president said jump, the Western world said how high. That era ended yesterday. Canada, the closest friend, the quietest ally, just said no. And if Canada can say no, who else starts saying no? Does Germany start saying no? Does Japan? Does Mexico? We are watching the fragmentation of the Western alliance in real time. And it's not because of China. It's not because of Russia. It's because Washington decided to treat its friends like enemies. This signals a world where the US is isolated. A world where you can't rely on the old alliances. A world where trade isn't about efficiency anymore. It's about survival. Carney isn't just protecting Canada's dairy farmers. He is protecting the idea of national sovereignty. He is drawing a line that says you can be our partner or you can be our bully, but you cannot be both. So where do we go from here? This is the scary part, because usually in these stories there is a back-channel deal. Someone makes a phone call, they agree to a vague statement, and everyone declares victory. But Trump doesn't do back-channel deals when he's been embarrassed publicly. And Carney can't fold after drawing such a hard line. We are looking at 3 scenarios. Scenario A, the freeze. Trump imposes the tariffs. Canada retaliates. The border slows down. Prices rise. Both sides dig in for a 6-month trade war. The markets drag. Recession fears spike. And eventually Congress or corporate America forces a ceasefire. This is painful but survivable. Scenario B, the escalation. Trump doubles down. He tears up the USMCA entirely. He closes the border crossings. He invokes national security powers to block Canadian energy. This is the nightmare scenario. This is economic suicide for both sides. It would trigger a depression in the Great Lakes region almost overnight. It sounds crazy, but with this White House, you cannot rule out crazy. Scenario C, the pivot. Carney outmaneuvers him. Canada rapidly signs emergency trade pacts with Europe and Asia. They shift their oil exports. They pivot away from the US structurally. This hurts Canada in the short term, but in the long term, it breaks the US monopoly on Canadian trade. It means the US loses its best customer forever. I think we are heading for Scenario A, drifting dangerously close to Scenario B. This is the part where leaders usually calm it down, but Trump doesn't do calm and Carney isn't backing down. We are in uncharted waters. The map you use to navigate the world, the one where the US and Canada are best friends, is burning. Carney just proved that you can stand up to a bully if you have the receipts. But standing up has a cost, and we are all about to receive the bill. The question isn't whether this will hurt. The question is who breaks first. Do you think Carney is protecting Canada's future, or is he daring Trump to burn the house down? I want to hear your take. Is this the end of the special relationship, or is it the wake-up call Washington needed? Drop a comment below. I read them all, and if you want to know what happens when the markets open tomorrow, and they will react to this, make sure you're subscribed. You're going to want to see the next update. History is moving fast. Don't blink.